back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over my complete setup for my Garmin 93sv UHD fish finder with the Garmin Panoptix Livescope. Let's get into it. All right guys, to start with the fish finder, like I said in the intro, it's a Garmin 93sv UHD. So I have that mounted on the Garmin bracket. This comes with the fish finder. And then I have that mounted to a Yak fish finder mount. And then I have the Yak, I believe it's called a Mighty mount. And that will fit the Yak fish finder mount in the rail there. Down here, that is the power cable to the unit as well as the transducer cable to the unit. That is a Yak through hole wire kit. It can fit 2 wires coming out of there. The Yak fish finder mount is really cool because it allows you to rotate it. So there's this little clip right here. If you push it in, it allows you to rotate it. So you can rotate it and it'll face whatever direction you want it to face. So this comes really handy. If I'm sitting down, I like it to have a little bit more facing back, straight at me. And then if I stand up, I'll come up here and push this in and have it at a little bit more of an angle. So when I'm standing up, I can just glance down at it real quick. So that fish finder mount by Yak is really nice. And when you push the button in, it doesn't detach, so it's not gonna fall off or go anywhere. It just allows you to rotate, so that's really nice. To take it off, what you do is you pull the clip out, and you can see the clip there is pulled out, it disengages, and then it allows you to lift it off. So then you just pop it down back in place, there's the clip, it's not going anywhere, push it in, and then you can rotate it. So that Yak fish finder mount is really nice, and it allows you to move the fish finder to get the view you want to get. So up next, we'll come up to the crate here. I haven't really talked about the battery I'm using too much yet. And if you haven't seen my 2 build videos where I installed the fish finder and the Panoptix. So the battery I'm running, it's a lithium battery. It's a 12 volt, 50 amp hours. The reason I went with the 50 amp hours is so, one, it gives the unit plenty of power and plenty of battery life when I'm out there on the water. I don't expect I'll ever use the full 50 amp hours on this battery. And you know, I use it to power both the unit and the Panoptix unit. So that's why I went with a little bigger battery, just in case if I'm, you know, running the Panoptix for long periods of time. This battery is more than capable of doing that. And then also, you know, I'm running a 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery for my trolling motor. So in case I ever have any issues with that battery, I can use this battery as an emergency backup just to get me back to the ramp or something. I wouldn't use this to troll around the lake. I would just use it in an emergency if I need to get back to the ramp or something. So that's also nice to have that big battery up here. And with it being lithium, it's really light. It doesn't add too much weight up here. So that's what the battery I went with, and a little bit on why I chose it. So the way I have it wired up, I have obviously it connected to the battery here, and I have all these products linked in my build videos. It's a lot of Yak Power connections because this kayak came pre-installed with the Yak Power system, which was really nice. So what I did is if you can see that down here, this top Yak Power plug came pre-installed from the factory on my kayak. I installed this bottom Yak Power unit right here. Okay, so I drilled a hole in my kayak here. I popped that Yak Power plug in and I ran it underneath the deck and I plugged it in to the Yak Power system underneath my deck here. So we can see that right here. This is the Yak Power system. It comes with a fuse built in already, and you can't really see it that well, but in here, the Yak Power system power plug comes with a red plug, so that's what power is. So I connected that with the Yak Power plug that I installed up here, and then I connected that to the battery. So that's how the battery's wired in, and I'll link my build video. It'll go more in depth on how I ran the wires, where I plugged them into and stuff like that. So this top Yak Power port, I have that hooked up to my power cable for the black box. Okay, this black box runs the Garmin Livescope Panoptix unit. So I have that powered into that, and then I have the transducer cable just loosely ran, the extras in the crate here, which makes it nice. And then I'd have that running to my Livescope transducer here. So now we'll go into this transducer. This is a DIY transducer mount. I'll link the video to where I built this with more details down below. It comes in handy. I can stow it up like this and it locks in with a pin so it doesn't go anywhere. And then if I pop the pin, so when I take the pin out, I can deploy it in the down position. And then I put the pin back in to lock it in the down position so it doesn't go anywhere. And then my handle is facing the direction of the transducer, so I can just rotate it and it'll rotate with the transducer. So that's a quick overview of my setup with the Garmin fish finder and the Panoptix unit, and then a quick overview of my crate with the battery and the black box and my cables. So lastly, I'm going to show you how I operate this with the Yak Power system. So this is the controls for the Yak Power system, and like I said, it came pre-installed from the factory on my kayak. So when I'm sitting right here, I can just reach down, and the way I have it, the battery wired in, when I press this power button right up top here, all the buttons light up. So that means I have power. All right. That power is coming from that 12 volt, 50 amp hour lithium battery I showed you guys earlier. I have that wired underneath the deck into the power plug for that Yak Power system. So that's how it's getting power right now. All right. So whenever I want to power just my fish finder, just the unit, I'll press this 1. All right, and the way I have that wired up is the power cable going right here through the hole, and then down here, the power cable for the unit is this cable right here, and I have it plugged in to the Yak Power port 1 cable. So if I want to turn on the unit, all I have to do is come back here, press the 1, that turns red, and then I come over to the unit, press the power button, and it turns on. So that's how I power the Garmin fish finder unit. For Panoptix, whenever I want to run the Livescope, I have that plugged into this factory mount, this factory Yak Power port. And on my controls, that would be B for bow. So I'll wait for the unit to start up here. All right, I unplugged my transducer, so that's why I'm getting that. I go back. So that's just the main home screen. If I want to power up the Panoptix, I'll come down here, press the B. That will turn red. That means it's getting power. Come back to the fish finder. It'll take it a minute to pick it up here. And then there it is right there. The Panoptix option will pop up, and that means my black box is getting power. The fish finder recognizes it's getting power, and all I have to do is click on that Panoptix option, and it'll, you know, pick up whatever my Livescope transducer is picking up. So that's a quick rundown of how I'm gonna run the Garmin fish finder paired up with the Livescope, and a quick rundown of, you know, how I'm managing to get the power, what I'm using, and the way I wired it up, and how I use the Yak Power power system from my seat. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video on my Garmin Panoptix setup. You know, stay tuned for more videos and to see how I utilize it on the water. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll get back to you with anything regarding my setup here. Please like the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.